Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Been here from EWPRO. Please like, subscribe, and share. Once I get 1,000 subscribers, I may be able to start doing some live trading sessions. So, getting on to the weekly outlook, starting with DXY, we're looking at this internal wave in here. Like I've been saying, we got that WXY X2 Z up. So we're looking for an A, B, C. We're looking for downside, but we don't know if this is over yet. On the H4, we have this possible bull hidden. Like I mentioned last week, it's not valid to trade as bull hidden at this stage, but there's nothing to say that it won't play out and we get another higher high. This is more than like I said last week, we either get a buy set up to go and buy and break the top, or we get a correction in here and then like an A, B, C. So either one of those two still can play out. So nothing's really changed since last week. On the H1, this low here never broke this low. So it's become very difficult because we sort of got some sort of A, B, C, and then a sharp move down, breaking the low. So it's virtually, there's no real setups. It's not giving any setups to trade either way. I'll be staying out of it. There's really no setups. There's no clear structures to trade on it at this stage. But overall, on the daily, we will be looking for a downside, whether it goes and breaks this top or not. I'm more interested in selling at this stage because we have that bearish divergence on the daily. AU on the daily. So we got the WXY X2 Z down, but we lost the bullish divergence. We didn't have any bullish divergence, so we were looking for a correction and then another one down. Now we have the bullish divergence. So we've got to see if this is over as well, if this is the actual low. When we look in the H4, last week, looking at WXY X2 and then a Z down, we had that possible bear hidden again. I think this one was actually valid to trade as bear hidden. We got a nice impulse down, but we didn't get the flag or correction to sell. So we didn't get that sell set up, and now we got like 3 up and we don't have any bearish divergence. So we're not going to get the Z down. Even last week, I said that more than likely won't be a Z down. This is a larger correction. So now we have to see how we can look at this. I'll remove that. So we can look at it as an A, a B, and a C as a flat, running flat for an A, B, C. So I'm sort of more interested in the buys, but it's very risky again because we still have that possible bear hidden on the H4. It's really not giving us any structures to trade. I would have really liked to see, I was waiting for a flag in here on Friday. We never got it. And we got a really deep correction here. So it's become very difficult. Sort of, if you go down on the lower time frames, we did have a lower low here. Between these two, we got a lower low, so more than likely this will go and break the low and then possibly give us another one up. But we really need to wait for a setup to actually trade it. EU on the daily. Now this one's a little bit better. we're looking at this internal WXY X2. We got the Z down, then we got the higher high. So we're looking for a correction and a buy setup. On the H4, we're starting to get that correction. Now, whether this is a flat in here, expanding flat, and it goes from that, we don't know. We do have a trade set up to trade this in the a system to trade this when we have this sort of setup, but I can't really share that in this room on YouTube. But we're looking for like a 50 fib retrace, like I said last week. We're looking for that correction in here and then more upside. On the H1, again, it's possible that this is a flat, and we go up and break the top. Yeah, so I'd be more interested in the buy. This may not be over. You really need to go down lower time frames, wait for a trend line break, and a bullish setup to buy, or else this can still continue down. This can give all sorts of different sorts of structures, but overall, we got a higher high. So I'm looking for whatever's happening in here is a B wave, and then we get a C up. So I'm only really interested in the buys. GU on the daily. So we're looking at that WXY. We didn't have any bullish divergence, so I was just looking for a correction and then a possible another one down. We do have that possible bear hidden, like I've been mentioning for a very long time. So it can be an X2 and then we get a Z down. And it's still valid. On the H4, a few weeks ago, we were looking for a possible WXY X2 and then a Z up. Instead, it fell over. So we were looking for an A, B, and a C. Now, whether it's just a C down and goes and breaks the low, or it doesn't break the low, we don't know yet. But I'm looking for this in here as a B wave. So I'm really only looking for the sells. And you have to keep in mind that a B wave can go and break that top and still give you the C down. So we're really waiting for this. I am looking for the sell on it. Looking at the H1, we do have the bearish divergence between the two tops. We do have a lower low here, so that may be the top. But again, we got that sharp impulse up, so it's very difficult. It's not giving us a setup. Really would have just liked to see a correction in here, some sort of a correction for downside, or a flag in here for more downside. Instead, we got this, so it's made it difficult to trade, to give us a setup. But yeah, it still can give us more upside as well. If you look at this as an A, B, C in here, then you get the A, B, C. So it's not giving us a clear direction at this stage. You really have to watch the structures and look for your trading setups to trade it. And you're really only scalping because you're in a B wave. So looking at NU on the daily, nothing's really changed since last week. Looking at that WXY, and like I said, this one can come down to that 161.8 before we get an X2 and then a Z down. Like I've been mentioning, Yeah, there's so many different structures here. We can look at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. And then we get that 1, 2, 3, and we have that complex 333, complex correction 333 pattern in here in the B wave, and then you get that A, B, C. So again, really, it's become really difficult, and it's going to be very difficult to trade for a while, I believe, because we've got all this. We may have a war in Ukraine, so we have to be mindful that markets can be really erratic, in times of uncertainty. So yeah, on the H4, we're looking at that A. We're looking at this as a B wave, and then a possible C down. And I'm still looking at that. I don't believe we have bearish. Yeah, so we don't have any bearish divergence. That's the problem. So this can, again, this can be an A, B, C before we get an A, B, C to finish off this B wave before we get the larger A, B, C. So you really have to wait for a nice setup before you trade. H1, again, see, we got a nice, after this trend line break, we had the bearish divergence. Got a trend line break, but we didn't get the correction or flag to sell. Instead, we got an impulse up, which makes it difficult. And then we got another impulse down. So we got 3 impulses. So we got 1, 2, 3. So more than likely we'll get a correction in here for another one down. Sorry. So we got 3. So this may be 1. So we get a correction in here for 1, 2, 3, just breaking that low, and then you get an A, B, C in here for the larger flat before you get an A, B, C down. Or it can be this flat, this flat in here for upside. So it's really difficult. You have to really watch the structures and look for the setups, and it's really difficult times to trade because we're not really getting the setups, unfortunately. Looking at USD Japan, we're looking at that A, B, C on the daily. We still haven't got to that 100 pip. We do have the bearish divergence between the two tops. On the H4, again, this can be an A, B, C, and then we go up and break the top. We haven't quite broken that top yet. But again, this can be an A, B, C in here for a flat, running flat, or maybe expanding. And then we get another one up, like an A, B, C, breaking that top and possibly going up to that 100 pip. Like I said last week, I'll be very surprised if the whales don't go up and test that 100 fib, because we're so close to it, that daily 100 fib. I'll be very surprised if we don't go up and test that. So again, it's very difficult. If we're looking at this as an A, B, C in here, if you get any bullish setup in here, you can look for that buy against this point, against this low here. And if we look on the H1, we do have a bull hidden here. So, you can really only look for the buys while we have that possible bull hidden. So again, if you get a bullish setup in here, look for that buy to go and break the top. And the ultimate target will be that 100 fib on the daily. Looking at the Swissy on the daily, this is very confusing as well. It's not playing the game. We were looking for this up here. We got that bounce off the 100 fib for the like an A, B, C. That played out, and then we were looking for the larger A, B, C. Instead, we got all this, like I've been mentioning. So it's made it very difficult. Looking at the H4, we got that A, B, C down with bullish divergence. Then we got that higher high. So we're looking at an A, B, C in the B wave, and then a C up. I'm still looking for a C up. I'm still looking for upside at this stage with the structures that I can see, you know. But at this stage, yeah, on the H1, you could look for a sell in here to go and break that low for a C down in the B wave, and then start looking for your buy setup. You never know. This may go and break the low, you know. But yeah, at this stage, when you look at the H1, we do have bearish divergence. So, you know, if you do get any sell set up, you know, you want a trend line break and a sell set up, and then look for yourself. UCAD on the daily. So we're looking at an A. Whatever is happening in here is a B, and then we get a C up. Like I mentioned last week, there's quite a few different structures we can look at in here. But I'm sort of looking at an A, B, C as a running flat. Then we get that A, B, C. We're getting a nice bullish looking setup here. So this will be a nice something to monitor next week. On the H4, nothing's changed. We're looking at that A, B, C. We're getting a correction in here. So you want to wait for a break, flag, something to buy, and then look for your buy. GU on the daily. So we got the 5 up with the Z. Then we had that possible bull hidden. And we never broke that top. And it's gone up again and tried to test that top. I don't believe it has actually broken that top. You see, it hasn't quite broken that top, but you definitely can't rule out that that goes and breaks that top for that bull hidden. Looking at the H4, we were looking at that like W, X, Y, X2, and then a Z up. But like I said last week, well, a few weeks ago, it went too far. So we can't look at it as a Z up. We just got a W, X, Y, larger correction. I'm still looking at this as a B wave. This in here as a B wave for an A, B, C as a possible flat, running flat before you get like an A, B, C. If we look on the H1, it's difficult because we don't have any bearish divergence. So it's extremely difficult. It can go either way. We do have a lower low, but we don't have any bearish divergence. So again, you really need to see this break the low and give us a flag or a correction, and then give us that sell setup. Instead, it's bounced off the trend line. Right? We got the trend line, and it's bounced off that. So this can be some sort of an A, B, C for some sort of flat in here. for another one up. It's not giving a clear setup. That's the problem, and it's like most of them. UCAD is probably one of the better looking ones to trade at this stage. Looking at EG on the daily. So we're looking at that WXY, X2, Z down. We've got to work out if this is over down here, if that is the actual low. Because like I said last week, you know, this can be an A, B, C breaking the low, and then you get that C up as an expanding flat, like I said last week, and then that can come and break that low, break this low. So again, it's very difficult because it's not giving us the buy setups. We got 5 down, big correction, and then we may get another 5 down in here, or just an impulse just breaking the low. But last week I was more in, and I still am, I'm more interested in the buy than the sell. You know, we're at a low. Even if this does go and break that low for the flat, goes and breaks the low, you know, I'll be looking for a buy setup. I'm really only interested in buy setups. If you, like I said last week, if you get a sell setup, you can take it. You know, I mean, if you're watching this, you could look at an A, B, C in here, sold under that low, or put a sell stop, you know, and you'd be at break even if you took it. It's not something I'd take, but you know, you could have. But yeah, I'm more interested in the buy. If you're in the sell, definitely move it to break even. You know, I'm more interested in something like a WXY, X2, Z down, give us bullish divergence, break of trend line, some sort of a bullish setup, and then look for your buy. That's what I'm looking for, buy setups. Looking at gold on the daily, this is very tricky as well, you know, extremely choppy. Like I said, way back here, it's going to be choppy for a couple of years, and it's pretty much how it's been. It's been extremely choppy. Looking at WXY, X2, and then a Z down, we had that bear hidden, but we never broke that low. So that made it difficult because there's so many different structures we can get out of this. Got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We could have got 1, 2, 3 in here, or even 5 for a 3, 3, 5 pattern, or how I've got it drawn here as an A, B, C, and we go up and go up to that 100 fib. Well, at this stage, it looks like you know, we may get up to that 100 fib. Last week, it was actually looking really nice. I was looking for this sell. All this was looking corrective, and we had that break of the trend line. So I was just looking for that correction in here for a sell. Instead, it never gave us a setup to sell, which is, you know, I was really looking forward to this trade, but yeah, it just didn't go. Never got the setup for it, which is disappointing. Now we got a high. So yeah, it's risky, but if you get a bullish setup, you can look for the buy. You'd be targeting that 100 fib. Very risky. It's not something I'm more interested in, you know, a sell. You can take, you know, if you do get a buy setup, you definitely can take it, but it is quite risky. We don't have any bearish divergence, so you definitely can take it. But I'll be more interested in waiting till the 100 fib, see if we get a bounce off the 100 fib and a sell setup, and I'll be looking for the sell. Looking at WTI, we got that WXY, X2, Z up, and I was looking at an A, B, C. Now, it's gone way too far for a B wave. I've still got it as a B wave, but it's not a B wave. You know, this is too impulsive. We had that ball hidden here, and that went and played out, and yeah, so eventually may look at it as some sort of a flat in here, you know. But looking at the H4 last week, like I said a few weeks ago, I was looking at that as internal, and I'm even looking at this as internal as well. So we're looking at a WXY, wait for your X2 and then the Z. It's definitely better to wait for your X2, your correction, before you get that, to trade that Z up. I was looking for a sell setup in here. But again, we never got the break, so we never got the setup, which is unfortunate. So this is really, we're still in wave Y. On the H1, at this stage we do have bearish divergence, but that doesn't mean much at this stage because we can lose that bearish divergence. You really have to wait for this trend line to be broken. Now, you know, it's not, you're at a top. I mean, they are expecting 105 in oil. Barclays, I think it is, that put out something a long time ago, about a month ago, saying, you know, oil was going to 105. But yeah, it's very risky to be buying. And I was sort of, like I said, I was looking for that sell setup, but we had that ball hidden, and that's played out. We may get bearish divergence. We may not. Really got to see if we get bearish divergence there. And if we do get bearish divergence and a sell setup, well, I'll be looking for the sell back down to the 38.2 in wave X2 or 4, however you look at it on the H4. Yeah. Looking at Bitcoin on the daily. So nothing's changed since last week. Looking at this possible A, B, C as the running flat. And you have got the targets there. Like I said last week, we either get a correction in here for more downside. That's why the first target's at 50 Fib. Or we get, this is the flat, a running flat, and that'd be your first target, the 123.6 and the 161.8 for your wave Z for the monthly. Either way, like I said last week, any buy setup you get, look for the buys. Nothing's changed. On the H4, we got that WXY. We're looking for that X2 and then start looking for that Z up. It is motive, but it's not really all that motive. We got a large correction in here, which is okay when we get a reversal, but it isn't. This can be a little flat in here for an A, B, C in here, and it may be internal, and we're still in the wave Y before we get that larger correction. We're looking for a correction a similar size to this, and this one hasn't, in time, it hasn't quite got there yet. So yeah, we're just waiting for this. It has reached the 38.2, which we do like to see in the X2. So we're looking for the buy, only looking for the buy. So like I said, on the H1, maybe an A, B, C in here. We've bounced off that 38.2. It doesn't mean that it's over. It still can, you know, mess around in here, giving us that time factor of this correction in here, and then going. I'm only really interested in the buys. So you'd have to go down to lower time frames, draw your trend line, wait for a trend line break, something to buy, and then look for that buy. SPX on the daily. So yeah, eventually we're looking for this larger correction back to this 50 fib. We do have the lower low. So you can only really look for the sell on the daily. You know? And we have that bearish divergence. On the H4, I'm looking at that WXY. We ruled out the Z down because this was way too large for a Z down. But we still have that bear hit. We still have that possible bear hit. So this may be just 1, 2, 3, then the larger correction before we get, you know, another one down, breaking the low. I don't believe this one here. See, like I said last week, the bear hidden isn't valid to trade yet. Like I said last week, we're looking for another one to go and break that top. It never broke the top. I don't believe it did break that top, which made it very difficult. See, last week I was looking for a possible extended wave, like a WXY X2, and then a Z up as an extended wave in the wave Y. It turned out to be a lot larger. So it definitely was. It's not an extended wave. There was a possibility that it was. So now it's only a Z up, you know. But it's not a Z up either, because I don't believe we broke the top. See, we never broke the top. We never broke this here. So it's become very complex. You know, this can be like an A, B, C before you get like an A, B, C. Unfortunately, it didn't break this top, because if it broke the top, that would have been confirmation and we go and break that low. That never happened. So it's been very, yeah, it's something I'm going to stay out of until I get something to trade on it. It's not really, yeah, it's not giving a nice structure to trade now. It would have been nice if that we did get that Z up and then we could have looked for that sell to go and break the low. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So trade safe. Like I said, you know, we may be having a war in the Ukraine, and that can really turn the markets upside down. So trade safe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.